Hey everybody, this is Herschel from High School Top 200. This team review of Sacred Heart College is brought to you by Fineline Barbers. Now, September in 2017, as I explained on the other videos, that Vinnie from Fineline Barbers has teamed together with some major barbering suppliers from here in New Zealand, and they have put together and they've created an Aotearoa barber competition. Now, the idea behind this competition is to help bring the industry recognition to our everyday barbers who have been in their barbering shops and supporting and transforming the lives of people like us, and sharing their prospective works around New Zealand, and then giving everyone a taste of what it is. So he has put forward this Aotearoa barber competition, and you should keep an eye out for the Facebook page and the Instagram account that are going up, and this is for barbers around the country to put their profiles up on these pages so that people like us can also follow them and be able to even book them on the day of the competition, so that we can get cut by the barber that we prefer and the barber that we like their work. So if you are from one part of the country and the barber that you actually really like is from another part of the country, you can actually book them for that day and at the competition, and then get your hair cut by that barber that you prefer. Now, if you're like me and I prefer the same barber all the time, that's why I always go to Vinnie. You would want to nominate and want to put forward your barber to this competition. Best thing about this is that you don't have to have a qualification, barber's qualification to be a part of this competition. You can be a person that cuts from your own garage, and that also you can also go into the competition too. So get the word out. Make sure you have a look for the Facebook and Instagram page, and there'll be heaps of prizes and barbecuing and stuff like that all there, and just a real cool culture that's coming through. So let your barbers know the next time you get cut up to have a look out for this page, and more information will be coming about that soon too. Sacred Heart College, and I've expressed my thoughts on this before and how I think the Nationals is done. I understand the reason why we have one representing each region, so that it's not just two regions representing, or just three regions, or just one region representing at the top four, but one from every part of the country. I can understand that. I do know that. But this is where this situation of Sacred Heart is one of the best teams in the country, and no doubt they should have been at the top four if it was truly a top four. And that's just how I feel about it. They had some massive games this year. They were led by Jack McEwen, and also by Hoskins Satutu. Damon Abraham was also another one. Damon and Hoskins made New Zealand secondary schools, and a big reason why is because they're so dominant in their position. Hoskins is one of the most all-rounded, talented players that I've seen come through High School Top 200. He just does everything. They ended up with a 12-1-1 record, which was great. And the way Sacred played is because they have a really young backline. George Wheaton was probably the most influential, because when Matt Storm went out earlier in the season, it kind of fell on George to actually pick up the pieces and lead the boys in the backline, and he really stepped up. He did a great job in doing that kind of stuff. So they have a really young backline. A lot of guys will be coming back from their backline, like Tofa and Lemeki will be back as well. AJ is going to come back. Terry Ponga is going to come back too. So all these guys are going to be back, and so that backline is going to be one of the best in the country coming back. They're going to be up there with Hastings Boys. There's another one that's going to be really good, as well as Mags. And so coming up to these guys next year is you're going to have a really good backline. For their best win came against St. Kennigan's, and it was the game that I was at, and I actually thought St. Kennigan's was going to win, and George Wheaton winning the game at the end was the coolest thing, one of the coolest things to see live, and I was glad I made that game. But that was probably the best one. The worst one was also another game that I was at against Mags, and Mags just made them look ordinary, and it wasn't sort of the same kind of Sacred Heart that I was used to. Yeah, I'm not sure. You know, their front row was out, which made a big difference. They had Crusader in the front row. Who was another one? Macaulay might have been another one that was in that front row, because Damon didn't play that game. Neither did who was it? Fationga, I think his name is. Paya, or Paya, the young kid. Those guys were missing, so Crusader was like the main prop there, main front row, and then that's kind of where Mags took the game over. But and obviously in the finals they showed exactly what kind of team they were. So I personally feel that they should have been at the top four if it was a truly top four kind of thing. But yeah, Sacred Heart, just, you know, as Auckland teams are, you just have to go through that hard grind and make sure that you're out there at the end of the 1A competition, and just make sure you're there at the end. That's the only way that you can do it. Sacred Heart just had hard luck that Mags had such a good team this year. But, you know, like, I think they were deserving of that third ranking throughout the country. And I would actually wish that Sacred Heart maybe should have went around the country more. I think I would have liked to see them against Hastings boys too. I mean, in the preseason game, and take it that it is preseason, they tore apart Otago boys, and both teams were actually playing with sort of makeshift lineups, and both teams were kind of testing it out and things like that. And Sionhausi wasn't playing much either as well. But, you know, Sacred Heart have that ability. They had that ability this year. Like I said, the guys that I would be looking at next year, AJ and Lemeki for sure. Those two will be back in the midfield at second, 5 and centre. AJ's such a good player too. Him and Lemeki, they do something different. Lemeki, like they just have a different way about how they play. Telfa's really good at halfback. Also, Crusader will be back in the front row as well. Macaulay too. Josh Carr, I think, is another one that's coming back too. So, like, you know, they have a really good range, and under Gus Ledger, Coach Gus, like, you know, he's got all the pieces. You know, they may struggle maybe a little bit in the forwards with not so many forwards coming back, but Sacred Heart always have talent, so keep an eye out for them. And yeah, I mean, they're losing a lot of talent, but I think they have enough to come back and be able to pressure that top four in the 1A. And I think they have enough talent there to be able to thrive and say, well, you know, we still belong here. And you could even end up seeing them as in the final again. And it may even be against Maisie, because they both have good teams coming back. So look out for Sacred Heart. Have a look out for also my Hamilton Boys review of this year coming back. And yeah, keep it up. Peace.